Welcome to Adventure. Joining us today is John Cavendish. John's vast experience understanding the seller journey through owning and overseeing millions in sales on Amazon led him to develop the concept of seller candy. With an ethos of supporting his clients to never talk to seller support again, Seller Candy quickly grew to hundreds of supported accounts. From flat files to plans of action, Seller Candy is your one-stop shop for dealing with the parts of Seller Central that drive you crazy, which I think is all parts of Seller Central, right? So tell us about the inception of Seller Candy. What parts of being an Amazon seller inspired you to start this venture?
First, thanks for having me, Jeanette, and Joseph. So I was a seller back from 2015 to 2019 before I started an agency, and then I started Seller Candy. And when I was selling, I know that I really had a lot of issues getting things approved. I sold supplements for a while, which was a real pain getting anything approved and getting all this sort of documentation through. And then when I started an agency, I talked to maybe 500 people in 1 year. We did a lot of sales, a lot of outbound, and my big takeaway was that I couldn't help everyone because not everyone had a product that could fit the Amazon marketplace. As sellers, we all know that you need the right market fit and the right pricing to be successful quickly on Amazon. But everyone that was selling hated dealing with seller support. So I was like, we can solve that problem. So scrap the agency. And then 4 years ago, started Seller Candy because I believed that we could add a lot of value in this space, just really helping people to deal with the worst part about selling on Amazon.
So yeah, I think every seller or founder that we've spoken with started because of an actual issue that they faced. You guys are absolutely problem solvers. I would say overachieving problem solvers. But I also love the name. It's e-commerce is a little bit of a dry landscape. Mm. And just going to your website, seeing the really colorful color scheme and the name, is there any special meaning to the name, or it just sounded fun?
Well, when we were doing it, I was modeling off a lot of other productized services, because the model we do is a flat fee per month service. And there were lots of things that were like snacks or bites or things like that. And I was like, oh, what's a small thing that we can do, bite-sized things, because we do tasks for our clients. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, candy and Seller Central, but also we make your life sweeter if you want to be really cheesy.
I do. Yeah. I love cheese. Lay it on. That's great. So answer this for me. Why would somebody not just hire a VA for doing those sort of repetitive tasks? Why use Seller Candy?
Great question. So what we do is we actually have 50 ex-Amazon seller support agents in the Philippines, and it's all connected through a system. So what we have is we have our own portal. So our users, our clients go in, they log what they want to happen into the portal. So it's a bit like seller support, but you only ever have to tell us once, because you just tell us the outcome you want, and then we take it from there. So there's no need to have Slack channels continuously coaching and managing people. There's no need for continuous communication. You just say once, and our people are ex-Amazon, so they understand and they just take it from there. So the idea was to really just hand that off. So yeah, really, we're about the same cost as having a VA, and you get someone who's fully trained, up to speed, and you don't need to manage. So that's it, really.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They can jump right in on day one, and you don't have to train them on what you need done. Okay. So walk me through some of the most common, I guess, tasks or issues that somebody would need Seller Candy for.
Yeah, so we're not necessarily for sellers that are just starting out. We tend to be for sellers who are doing say more than 25K a month. They know what they're doing and they know they've got a problem. So we solve that problem. So common things we do, if they're just coming to us because they have the daily workload, it's things like flat files, feed files, pushing updates through the system, actually making sure they reflect on the front end rather than the back end. If, say if it's with someone doing ads, why is this product not available for ads? Why are these ads not enabled? What's going on? So root cause analysis, and then plans of action. So if a listing goes down, or if Amazon requests something or gives you a performance notification, you can just fire it to us and say, can you figure out what's going on here and fix it, or tell me what I need to do? And we're the experts who can just figure that stuff out for you.
And are there things in a seller's process that you advise them on, either that they need before they come to see you, or as part of their sort of business documentation, sourcing, that types of thing? Because I've heard that making sure that you have sort of all of those ducks in a row will go a long way towards resolving your issues and perhaps sellers aren't aware of what they need?
That's a great one. It tends to be people come to us when they have the problem, but yeah, we'll tell them exactly what they need to get. And we've been through the round the circle on almost everything now. So we've got, 50 agents, about 80,000 previous tickets or 90,000 previous tickets we've done. So we've
Wow.
got a history of it. So we can just go back through and say, okay, this is the documentation you need. This is what worked last time. And we'll help handhold them to get it. Because, as you know, when something's going wrong in your Amazon account, you think it's the end of the world. My business is going to go down. I'm screwed. And we're there also just to give the confidence that, no, you're not screwed. Amazon solves everything eventually. They've probably sent you some templated emails that suck.
That
But
you work.
okay. We
Yeah,
will never reinstate your account until tomorrow.
because regardless of the pacing of your sales, when your account goes down, you're thinking in your head, oh my gosh, 1 minute went by, I just lost 100 sales.
Exactly. And everyone thinks I'm rich. I'm doing 7 figures in revenue, but I haven't got any cash.
Right,
All my cash is in inventory.
Yeah, this is like a leaking sieve. What about data analytics? Do you guys utilize data at all to help sellers make informed decisions or optimize their performance?
So yeah, we have a data team. What we do is we provide standardized reporting, and we can actually do a bit of custom stuff. So for our clients, when we onboard them, we say, okay, we can pull your data and we can produce these reports for you. So inventory projection, utilization, restocking reports, things like that. And if you want any other data, we can help you get it. So we have some competent kind of data management people on team, and we have an API integration to help with pulling some of that as well.
With all of the changes that have been occurring with Amazon, which seem to happen almost daily, number one, how do you guys stay on top of it? I mean, part of maintaining that relationship, for a seller is being aware of their policies, making sure that your product listings are adhering to all of Amazon's policies. But what are some of the biggest changes that Amazon has made that, in your opinion, has affected sellers the most?
It's a good question. What's affected sellers the most? I mean, for your first question, which is how do we stay up to date? I mean, we're just working all day, every day, 5,000 tickets a month or more. So the goal is that, we're just working. So we see it. We see it coming up. Obviously, we read the news bulletins and we share stuff internally in our Slack channels, but we see it come up. Somebody shares how they fixed it, and then it's added to the systems and processes. What's changed the most? I mean, Amazon's just locking down more and more. And support's not really getting any better, is it? It's actually seems to be getting a bit worse. So it's good for our business, but that's what's really affecting people, which is things slowing down even more, and it's affecting us too. So sometimes it makes us even slower for fixing things as well, because we still, we're just doing best practice. We're not, doing anything magical on a daily basis. We're just brute forcing and knowing exactly how to solve it.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how just widely known, and I don't know if it's spoken or unspoken, but how poorly seller support handles, sort of customer service, what just a traumatic experience it can be for some people. So I'm always a little bit surprised that, the investment on Amazon's side doesn't go a little bit more towards seller support, but thankfully there's companies like Seller Candy that can assist with that.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to acquire us for $100 million, then just need to tell them where to go. I'll be here
First.
Yeah.
He's throwing it out there.
So you guys definitely are able to make sure the process is more effective and that your result is going to be better by using Seller Candy. Do you have any advantages as far as like speed and getting a result done quicker than you would just writing a ticket and going through Amazon that way?
Our main thing is that we want to raise the ticket first time. So you're not wasting days of going around the circles. We've got best practices for solving different things. But no, if you wrote the perfect ticket first time and did it right, then no, we might be the same speed as you. But the goal is that we are right and we just take it off your plate. So no matter whether you have to go back once or go back and forth 10 times and call them and do everything, we'll just take ownership when you give it to us. So it's just off your plate really, and it's logged into our portal. So it's not like you've fired an email into the ether. You can see it. We'll give you daily updates, and you actually get comments on your tickets in the portal showing where you are in the process.
Right. Because what would be the point of using you guys if they had to contact you as much as they had to contact sellers?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you discovered any kind of anything weird as far as, if we were to message them late in the night Eastern time, then we get a response rate that's quicker than if we were to do middle of the day or certain times of years?
Good question. I don't know. I can ask the team. Luckily, I don't do tickets anymore. I need to ask. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is, calling during daytime and certain hours of the day when it's not so busy. Like, but that's not, there's not a secret to that. We don't hide what we do. We share it all, and then we just do it for our clients.
We were really hoping for that exclusive, firework.
If you dial 99999 during the call, then you get put through to Jeff. Jeff picks it up on his yacht and he says, "All right, I'll sort it."
That's what I was hoping for. Maybe next time.
Let me hop right out.
Yeah. But, I think your expertise and your experience in handling all of these tickets, we've certainly heard that a lot of times you can have somebody that's very competent, but it's almost in a different language. I mean, Amazon could easily send you an email, stating an issue that really isn't the core issue. So just really understanding their language, which clearly you guys have made a business out of, can really, take you that much further in resolving that issue a little bit faster and knowing what Amazon thinks the issue is.
Yeah, I mean, half the time it's, as you said, figuring out what it is. Do they need to just do a bin check or something like that? That was actually a tip that we shared for a hacks webinar that they're running at the moment, I think, which is like, if you have an issue and it requires a bin check, which is, really common, like Amazon says, oh, there's a misreceived number or something like that. If you go into your inventory report and actually get the FNSKU ID for the product and tell them to check that one, then it's like 3 days faster. Because if your product, did you get it back like 3 days faster if you just give them the FNSKU? That came up in a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, so I'm clear to use that in my next newsletter, right?
Yeah, sure. I'll send you the wording. If you email me, I'll send you the wording.
I will. I'll email you after the interview. So let's talk a little bit about the actual company. I mean, most of our listeners are definitely Amazon sellers and in that landscape, but I'm always fascinated to know it doesn't happen overnight. You don't just sell on Amazon, say, oh, I've had an issue with seller support, I'm going to start a company to resolve that problem. So talk to me a little bit about, how did you scale this? I mean, clearly, you've grown as a company. How did you start? Like, how it started, how it ended up? What was that journey like?
Yeah, I mean, it's anyone who's, I think Amazon businesses, at least for the majority of the people I know, tend to be the first business that somebody goes into, because it's a good gateway drug. Like Amazon takes care of the fulfillment, the most of the marketing for you, most of it. Amazon takes care of most of it. Yeah. So when I first started an agency after being an Amazon seller, I wanted to, do more good than selling supplements on the internet in Europe. I wanted to help more people. And I realized I didn't really know anything about business, much about business beyond sourcing products and getting products live on Amazon. So I messed around for like 9 months thinking if I did really good operations, delivered a good result, it would grow, but I wasn't doing any sales or marketing. So I got a sales coach, very quickly figured out sales and marketing, which was awesome. We figured out lead gen, figured out sales and marketing, and started really growing. And this was with our full service, Amazon marketing, creative, PPC, we did everything, agency. And quite quickly we hit some revenue milestones, and I was like, I don't want to scale this business. There's way too many moving parts. You guys do ads. Ads is one part, isn't it? And then you've got to do creative, account management, customer service, like all those things if you do full service.
Sure.
And I couldn't see wanting to grow the kind of very expensive team that I would need to do that, because you need really, really smart people like us to run it. You got to pay big salaries, you got to grow to a certain level. So my big realization there was that I didn't want to run a full service agency. I wanted to create a service that added massive value and created raving fans, but did like a really small scope of work. So that's how I found about Seller Candy. I studied the model. I kind of figured out our fixed pricing model, which runs from like $800 a month for an intro to like $2,000 a month for an agency. And gave away all my previous agency clients and started scaling from there. So we figured out sales and marketing, but we didn't figure out service sales and marketing for a long time. We were all selling it like an agency for a while. But yeah, it just grew. We grew in my theme of 2021 because there were too many like shiny objects. There was like the Amazon business and some other stuff, so I sold that. Was focus. and like just focusing on one thing and just selling. You know, we grew from like 30K a month to 70K a month in 2021, and then we just carried on growing from there just
Was it
through.
hard for you, John, to focus?
It was hard to focus on one opportunity. You know, there's always a million opportunities, and that's the thing. There's like, oh, there's this and there's that, but yeah, focus on one opportunity. That was the secret, and don't take your focus off it until you've either sold it or you've got a really good team running it who can run it completely on their own.
Yeah.
That was my biggest lesson, because you know, I could have sold my supplement business for a lot of money at one point, and I sold it later on for less money than that.
It's sort of like that FOMO, right? That fear of missing out. But I think in our minds, we craft a narrative where that opportunity was all golden. It came with no issues. It was just pure cash in hand.
Yeah.
And we don't really think about, you know, some of the stresses and negatives that also could have come along with those opportunities. So definitely it seems to have paid off for you, for sure.
Well, I hope so. I mean, there's always another level. The more you make, the more people you have, the more people you network with, the more you realize that, yeah, there's always another level.
So what's next? Are you dreaming of a different opportunity? Maybe not another, maybe in addition to Seller Candy, or?
I mean, because Seller Candy now, you know, we have a full operating team, we have chief of staff, everything kind of does run itself apart from doing these kind of chats. We do actually have some other services we're kind of doing analogous. So now we actually do reimbursements. We were doing reimbursements anyway as part of Seller Candy, but we've separated that off into its own brand. So that's Refundify. We just launched a couple of months ago, and that's growing nicely. And we also do virtual assistants, because we have such a team of 60 plus people now in the Philippines. We have a really good hiring funnel. So if you do need a VA that isn't just for Amazon seller support, we can help recruit and retain VAs. And that's under our new brand, Magnet Virtual Assistants. So really just staffing, services, software, all in the Amazon, different verticals, but in the Amazon space.
And all for, fulfilling your customers' different needs.
Yeah.
Listening to them. I mean, customer service is such an essential part of what you do. Do you have company core values that you incorporate and make sure that your staff adhere to, or what are some of your like core business philosophies?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think as a company, determination, impact through growth. We're always growing or we're dying, really. I mean, in any business. But yeah, I have my own core values, but the company together, we always, we go through our core values regularly. We share them at our weekly meetings, and we recognize people for demonstrating our values. And it's difficult when you have a lot of frontline people.
Right. But I'm gonna think that it's a lot of a more pleasant experience dealing with Seller Candy representatives than it is dealing with Amazon seller support.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, authenticity is one of our core values. So authenticity and determination, and then telling stories around the company, really what's meant by authenticity, because people have different definitions. It's not just being blunt, it's being
just genuine.
Passionate, and always helping people forward, because you need a lot of determination when dealing with Amazon.
Yeah, that's true, right? Just perseverance, commitment to getting that resolved, and definitely removing. I think part of it too is sellers are so impassioned when they do, have an issue come up with their accounts. They can tend to get a little bit emotional. They're stressed out, they're nervous. And I think just kind of removing that emotion from it, certainly, and having, your staff be very analytical and just business oriented probably helps a little bit too, right?
Yeah, and empathetic,
Sure.
And there was talking about emotional. I was talking to one of our clients a few months ago, and she was like, I have a solution for getting through to the leadership team of seller support every single time. And I was like, oh, really? You have to tell me, because if you have that would be great for our business.
It is.
And she's like, we got on with seller support. Yeah, I'd explain my issue, and then I break down crying on the phone for 10 minutes. And they always put me through to the leadership team. And I was like, I'm not sure if we can scale that.
Yeah, that's the hack I'm going to put in the newsletter instead of the other one.
You should put it in the newsletter. And
crocodile tears.
Seller Candy's main training is crying on cue.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work as well though if you're typing it up. Like the tears on the keyboard won't carry over as well.
Yeah, asking them, can we just
Barbecue.
Google Meet really quickly?
I'm crying right now.
Well, you've talked to us a little bit about some of the new features and things that you're rolling out. So I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat the name of it again.
Yeah.
But your reimbursement program, that's out.
Refundify.
Refundify. There we go.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's out. Check it out. Refundify.io. Spelled like it sounds. Yeah, so the cool thing about Refundify, which differentiates us in the marketplace, is that we're totally open about our rates. So based on your revenue, we'll give you the rate that it says on our table, and no one's going to have a lower rate than you. Because the biggest thing that we found from our clients was they'd come to us and say, or I'd experienced it as well when I was a seller, like, oh, it says this percentage on the website, but I heard my friend's getting this percentage, and they'll be like, okay, we can match that. Well, but that means you've got to call them every time you go up in revenue to get a new deal or something. So we just have public rates, and if someone negotiates us down, we negotiate. We go down across everyone.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, if that tactic worked, then I would just start making up friends and
It does work.
Get it for $1.
Revenue. If you're doing enough revenue, you just call up and say, "Oh, so and so offered me X%," and they'll give you a lower rate.
Exactly.
Not apart from us, we'll just give you a good rate to start with.
Well, you seem like you're pretty adventurous, and we ask everybody, because this is the Adventure podcast, what is the biggest adventure, or what has been the biggest adventure of your life?
Of my life, many. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I live in Vietnam. Did I tell you that?
You know, how are we burying the lead here?
All right, I'm in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam right now. I moved here 8 years ago, so that was an adventure. But after 8 years, does it still count as adventure? Ridden motorbikes over the mountains in Vietnam. I broke my back riding a motorbike in Greece, Santorini last year, which I wouldn't recommend.
No.
Couldn't move for a while.
No.
How
did that happen?
I was, Santorini. Everyone goes on a beautiful holidays and then rides like scooters like idiots. I wasn't riding like an idiot. I've ridden for 8 years in Vietnam, so I'm a good rider. We were riding like over the mountain, me with my wife on the back, and then in front of us, the car just skids out sideways and hits another car. So like, oh no, put the brakes on. So I put the brakes on, and there was oil all over the road, which is why the car skidded out. So it's a motorbike. So it went over. My wife skids out behind me. Luckily, she's fine. I skid along the road and then hit the car.
Oh.
So like get like 2 compression fractures in my back, and then I just have to go to the hospital and lay there for a couple of weeks, and then slowly rehabilitate once the bone starts.
This is on vacation, right? This is while you're on vacation.
This is vacation, yeah. Like we usually take a 4 or 5 week like trip around Europe, because I'm see my parents in the UK and my sister lives in Italy, so we do like a trip around and do some holiday stuff. But yeah, we had to kind of cut it short. I just sat on my in-laws sofa for 3 weeks and then came back to Vietnam. That
sounds like maybe not the best vacation.
No, I would have rather been in Vietnam.
Technically, yes, that does count as an adventure, but definitely not repeatable for sure. You guys are all daredevils. I mean, I'm glad nobody asked me the question, because I don't know that I could come up with an answer, but you guys
have
crazy.
Our own adventures. Like, yeah, I've done a lot of stuff, a lot of traveling, a lot of personal development stuff. I'd say that's an adventure as well.
Well, we can't wait to hear about your next adventure. Really appreciate you joining us. We're going to have Seller Candy website in our show notes. So if you do want more information, I'm sure you can reach out to John or any of their staff there, and make sure to subscribe for more thought-provoking interviews in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, John. Take care.